Hello, all, and welcome to my process of drawing a pet portrait in pastels. This is my first video like this, and we're starting out with, I'd already done an outline of the animal. This is a dog that is a commission I did for the holidays. So I'm adding right now, I had added a little bit of to the outline, some light gray and dark gray pastels, a little bit of white, and then had blended it all beforehand. And this is some charcoal pencil. I like to use like a soft general, the brand is General, soft charcoal pencil, and I just add a little bit of detail that I will later blend in. It's just so many the process is just so much blending and layering, basically, of pastels and then pastel pencils. So this is a stump. This is some blending with the stump. I use my finger a lot, but the stump is good to get into the little places. So I'm kind of blending in the, it gives it a different type of blend. So I'm blending in the charcoal pencil that I just applied. And obviously this is a speeded up video, and you're not seeing everything I do. A great bit of it in the process, but it's time consuming. It takes me probably like maybe 5 hours to do the whole portrait start to finish. I picked this one to show you guys because it's one dog. You can kind of get the idea from, it's got kind of a basic outline to it. So not too intricate as far as when I did the basic outline, and I kind of get the proportions in pencil, and then from there I put the picture onto my iPad, so I look at my iPad to get the idea of which colors go where. So right now I'm obviously adding some white pastel. I like to use Rembrandt pastels, but I do have kind of a mixed box where I have some Grumbacher and some Faber pastels. I guess the majority of it is definitely Rembrandt. I find those are great for being color fast, and I like the texture a lot. I think a lot of what you like in pastel pencils and in pastels is basically like a preference to you. So right now I'm using a kneaded eraser. It's again, this one's by General, and it's just to get the pastel out of the background, the dust that gets there and the smudging. I just put that in so you could see that I do that periodically between what I'm doing with the portrait. Here you can see there's more detail that I had added with the black charcoal pencil before taking this clip. So there was a little bit of a time lapse between. And I also have used some white charcoal pencil, again, which is like a soft white charcoal General brand pencil. I use the white and the black a lot, but especially in a portrait such as this, because obviously it's a black dog, black and grays, and with some white. So it's perfect to add. Again, this is my process. I am not sure if other people do a similar type of process as I do. I would assume so. I'm pretty much self-taught, and I've been doing pet portraits for over 10 years, commissioned pet portraits. Now I do it full-time, well, artwork full-time, and the majority of which is commissioned pet portraits. So I do have quite a lot out there. Here I'm adding some of the rug color. Now the rug in the picture was this blue. I always like to use elements from the picture that relates to the dog or cat's home, because we like to see the portrait of our pet, our fur baby, in his or her environment. And in this case, the picture I'm using as a reference actually has that type of a rug. It has an intricate white design. As you can see, I just added some lines to give the impression of the design. I don't like to do a lot of detail on the background pieces because it's about the pet. It's not so much about the background. The background is to enhance the portrait itself, and the object in the portrait is obviously the baby. So again, more layering, and more, this time I'm adding some light gray pastel. Again, a Rembrandt pastel. I do have quite a bit of browns and grays, just for different shades of different animals that I do. Cats, dogs. Obviously, they're not pink and purple, so I have less of those colors in varied shades. So you can see the difference in how just adding different color variation changes it so much. It just, all of a sudden you can tell that it's fur. Like, these are just little lines and squiggles, and now I'm adding more detail to that with a gray pencil that kind of complements the pastel that I used. I believe it's a very similar shade. And I'm again looking at the customer reference photo, which I will show at the very end before I show the finished piece. And I just kind of look at the colors and where the colors go. The process is more or less just looking and getting the colors and the patterns of which they are, depending on the type of fur. If it's a very short fur, it's more of the sheen, the shine, the reflections. You need to have a good dark to show light and a good light to show dark. So that's a good rule of thumb. And you can just see it all coming together bit by bit. It looks like I'm just doing some scribbling, but then all of a sudden I pull back and it's fur. Again, this is my process. You could do it differently. It's, it's art, so it's however you see it. But this is just the way I do it, and I wanted to share that in a complete video. I had originally put these pieces of this video together and released them in, I think, 7 parts on my social media, MJ Manville Art, on Facebook and Instagram. This was the first time that I actually put together a whole process video from start to finish to show my method and how I do things. Whether it's right or wrong, it works for me, and I'm happy with it. Excuse me. So again, more white pencil. I like to leave the tag on the collar to put the dog's name if the dog has a tag on his collar. I always ask the client who's commissioning me if they want that, and a lot of people do. So here we're adding a little more detail around the nose. And it changes in between. I mean, I know in this particular portrait, the eyes were off to me. They were very crooked, and they were not as crooked in the picture. So at one point after this, you can see how they're crooked. I did completely erase the lower eye, which is on the right, and replace it. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes I don't like the distance between the nose and the mouth. I don't do a graph to start. I just do like an outline of where I think things are. And I just kind of gauge it by visually looking at the picture. Now I'm adding a little more white pastel. I like to do that for highlighting towards the end, just to bring out the whites and the lights. And yeah, and here you see the finished portraits. And oh, not finished, I'm sorry. Almost finished. I think I just stopped to show it. And we get to add a little more black in there after I do all the detail. I like to add a little more black as well. It's lots of layers, lots of drawing on top of things I've already drawn. And here we go. This is the finished piece. And there it is as a side-by-side with the reference photo. And framed and matted is how the client receives it. So here we go. I hope you've enjoyed this. I've enjoyed being able to share this with you. And you can follow MJ Manville Art on social media, or check out my website, which is www.mjmanvilleart.com. And thank you so much for watching.